What's going on YouTube? It is Niv bringing you guys another deck profile. This deck profile is for Witchcrafter. It's not a pure build. It's Witchcrafter Witch. And I think this deck is actually pretty hardcore. Once we get the Dragma and Rise of the Duelist, this deck will be even better. There's also another card you can tech that I'm actually going to go ahead and experiment with called Monster Express that helps you get extra deck monsters into your graveyard, which is actually really cool for this particular variant of the deck, because if we still had instant fusion, I wouldn't be worried about it, but like, because we only have one instant fusion, it's harder to get into the combinations and the play that I had in mind. But I've done it in like a couple different duels. Still, it's not as consistent to get into it as it was, but like it's still consistent enough for me to be like it's still playable in the deck. So yeah, let's jump into this. For the main deck, starting with your Witches, we are starting with your Witchcrafter monsters. We are playing Witchcrafter Madame Verre. She's definitely the boss monster of the deck. She's doing the most. She is a basically a dark ruler no more on legs. She has the ability to, once you discard a spell card to make it so that your opponent's monsters all can't use their card effects. Also, she has the ability that when the spellcaster is in battle, you can reveal any number of spell cards in your hand, and your spellcaster that's in battle gains that many gains 1,000 attack for each spell card that you revealed. So that's really bonkers. It's also a really hardcore way to win a game as in an OTK fashion, because this deck can OTK if you get the right cards in your hand. It can most definitely OTK. So Madame Verre does that. Then I'm playing our hand trap, Witchcrafter Golem Aruru. Witchcrafter Golem Aruru is basically anytime your opponent targets a spellcaster monster with an attack or with a card effect, Witchcrafter Golem Aruru can target a Witchcrafter card in your graveyard, or Witchcrafter or a monster or a spell or a trap on your opponent's side of the field, and it can just bounce it right to the that individual player's hand. That's actually really dope, because being able to target the trap in your graveyard after you send it there is actually really strong, a really strong play on your part. Next, I played 2 copies of Haine, Haine. This is the only high level Witchcrafter you play multiples of, because of its effect that says that you can't target other spellcaster monsters with card effects while this card's on the field. So basically, it makes it a marauding captain lock. If you get 2 Haines on the on board, they basically say you can't target spellcasters with card effects in general. So that's actually really good. I play Edel. I play 1 copy of Edel. A lot of people don't, but Edel is the way that you swarm the board. Edel summons a Witchcrafter monster from your hand by sending a spell card from your hand to the graveyard. Also, Edel contributes itself to special summon a spellcaster, any spellcaster from the graveyard. So Edel's really good. It's also really important, in my opinion. I think I forgot that Haine is also, this card right here is also basically a Dryden, because it can pop a card by discarding a spell card from your hand. So you're going to see that that's a theme with all the cards. So moving on to your low-level Witchcrafter monsters, 3 copies of the Schmietta. Schmietta basically says that it can banish itself from the graveyard in order to foolish a Witchcrafter spell, or Witchcrafter card in general. It can be a spell or trap. But it's a Witchcrafter card from your deck. Also, all low-level Witchcrafters have the ability to lone fire another Witchcrafter to the field by discarding a spell card and tributing themselves. So that means that this card can go into any of the higher level monsters that I just showed you, plus the lower level monsters, and all the other lower level Witchcrafter monsters have that same exact ability. So the next one I'm playing is Pittore. Pittore's individual effect allows it to banish itself from the graveyard. You draw a card, but then you have to send a Witchcrafter card to the graveyard. Otherwise, you have to banish your whole entire hand. So it's important that you have a Witchcrafter card in your hand when you do this. Next, I'm playing 2 copies of Genni. Genni has the effect of being able to banish itself from the graveyard, and a spell card from the and a Witchcrafter spell card from the graveyard to copy that Witchcrafter spell card's effect and utilize it when it banishes itself in that card. Next, I'm playing 1 copy of Pittore or of Pottery. A lot of people don't play Pittore, but Pittore basically says that if I have a Witchcrafter card in the graveyard, this card can bring it back and put it back into my hand when my hand is empty. I'm actually thinking about switching the Pittore out though, because it's not as useful as Golem Aruru, and just playing a second Golem Aruru. Because playing second Golem Aruru, you can basically just do the same thing and target the card that you want to put back in your hand anyway. So it's all good off that. Next is your Wind Witch monsters. You play 3 copies of Ice Bell, 2 copies of Glass Bell, and 1 copy of Snow Bell. I suspect that everybody knows what Witchcrafter monsters do, or what Wind Witch monsters do. So I'm not going to explain what the Wind Witch monsters do, because of the fact that Wind Witch has been around for a minute. Basically, the whole point in Wind Witch, for the most part, is to make that indestructible crystal wings, so your opponent can't destroy the crystal wings with card effects. They have to attack into it, and that's really difficult to do depending on what you're attacking into it with. So yeah, the Wind Witch monsters. Next is your spells. We're playing 1 copy of Witchcrafter Collaboration. Witchcrafter Collaboration basically states that you can target a Witchcrafter monster, and then that Witchcrafter monster can attack twice in 1 turn. We're playing 1 scroll. Scroll basically has the effect that whenever a spellcaster monster destroys another monster on the field, you can draw a card from your deck. Playing 1 copy of By Street. By Street states that the first time each Witchcrafter monster will be destroyed, they're not destroyed. We're playing 1 copy of Draping, which states that for every Witchcrafter monster you control, you can bounce that many spells or traps on the field back to your opponent's hand. We're playing 2 copies of the in-theme Monster Reborn, which is Witchcrafter Holiday. 2 copies of the in-theme Rhoda, which is Witchcrafter Creation. And then we're playing the brand new 3 copies of the Witchcrafter Unveiling. Witchcrafter Unveiling has the effect that basically states that that when you can special summon a Witchcrafter monster from your hand, and if you do, your opponent cannot activate card effects in response to a spellcaster's card effect. So basically that means you can go unhindered, activating the Lone Fire effects, activating the Veiler effect, activating the Pop effect, activating the Reborn effect, activating whatever effect of whatever spellcaster monster you're activating, without having to worry about a hand trap being activated in response to it. They can't ash the draw. They can't ash the summon. They can't ogre you for activating your effect. They can't Veiler you for activating your effect. They can't hit you with the infinite impermanence for activating your effect. They literally have to do it before your card activates the effect. So Unveiling is just that good, that where I don't feel the need to play Call by the Grave. So Call by the Grave is not being played in here. If that's what you were expecting, you came to the wrong deck profile. The other card I play is Fool's Burial Goods. The reason why I play Foolish Burial Goods is because every Witchcrafter spell card has the ability to float back into your hand as long as you have a Witchcrafter card at the end of your turn and you did not activate its primary ability. That's all the normal spell cards and the quick play spell cards. The continuous spell cards actually set themselves back on the field in face up activated position. So like it's easy to get to these cards. You just go ahead, you Foolish Burial Goods them, and it automatically adds the card to your hand anyway. So it's absolutely broken. We still have Foolish Burial Goods at 3, which is funny. Eventually people are just gonna get tired of Foolish Burial Goods because Foolish Burial Goods is probably going to become a really big card at some point in time that gets extremely annoying. The next card I'm playing is 2 copies of Magicalized Fusion. You'll see why I'm playing Magicalized Fusion in a moment, but I'm playing 2 copies of Magicalized Fusion, 1 copy of Instant Fusion, 1 copy of Foolish Burial. I feel like I don't have to explain that, and 1 copy of Metal Foes Fusion for extra draw power. It's also discard fodder, so I don't understand why people wouldn't play Metal Foes Fusion. The reason why I'm not playing my Pot of Extravagances in this deck, in this particular build, is because of the fact that I use my extra deck in this build, so it doesn't make sense to play the Pot of Extravagance, if that makes sense. So last but not least is these trap cards. So I played the new trap card, Witchcrafter Patronus. Yo, this card is crazy. So basically this card states that once it's activated, you can target a spellcaster monster that's banished or in your graveyard, shuffle it back into your deck, and basically add any Witchcrafter spell card that you want to from your deck to your hand. That's absolutely bonkers. It's refueling your deck with your Witchcrafter monsters to be able to use their effects again. Ultimately, your card economy and your recovery is great in this deck because of this card. Also, this card has the ability to banish itself and add individually 1 copy of each Witchcrafter monster or Witchcrafter spell card that's banished back to your hand. But except for the turn that it was sent to the graveyard. So that means this Patronus is actually really good. It's adding a whole bunch of spell cards back to your hand, which essentially is also boosting your Madame Verre if your Madame Verre's out. Because once Madame Verre hits the collaboration, then you boost it. You get all these cards back to your hand with spells cards. You add all this attack to your Madame Verre, and you attack twice. That's probably game. So Patronus, absolutely bonkers card. And then last but not least, we're playing 1 copy of Masterpiece. Masterpiece is off the chain as well. Masterpiece basically says that I can target a spell card in my opponent's graveyard or in my graveyard, and I can search that spell card out if I have it in my deck, and I can add it to my hand. And then, except for the turn it was sent there, it can banish itself in any number of spell cards and special summon a spellcaster monster directly from my deck or my hand. I'm pretty sure it says deck or hand though. Yep, it's directly from my deck. So directly from my deck, I can special summon any level monster. So Witchcrafter Masterpiece, really good in the deck because of that, but you only want to play 1 copy. You don't want to overdo it with this card, especially if you're not playing a whole bunch of spell cards that you're absolutely sure that your opponent is playing. So that's your main deck. Moving on to your extra deck. Okay, extra deck's really simple. First, starting with the fusions, we're playing 1 Witch Crystal Bell. So a lot of people don't play this card, so nobody probably knows what the Witch Crystal Bell does because nobody used to play the fusion. But the fusion's actually really good, especially now that Magicalized Fusion exists. So basically, Witch Crystal Bell is similar in play or in effect to Starving Venom, Supreme King Starving Venom Dragon. Because basically Supreme King Starving Venom Dragon had one of the most broken effects in Yu-Gi-Oh! This card literally has that same effect, where it copies an effect from your graveyard till the end of the turn. So because of that, you can play cards like Millenniumize Restrict. If it's in the graveyard, you have its effect because of Crystal because of Crystal Bell. You can play cards like Independent Nightingale. If it's in the graveyard, you have its effect. This makes this card a 6,800 beat stick, but not only does it make it basically a 7k beat stick, it also makes it have the ability to burn your opponent for 4,000 points of 4,000 life points. That's half your life points. So it's like, okay, that's absolutely bonkers, right? But we also can play the Quintet Magician because this deck is full of spellcasters. So you have the possibility of being able to blow up your opponent's entire board and attack into them directly with a 4k beat stick. So, and then moving on to your synchro monsters, because you're playing the tuners, the two tuners. You're playing the Snow Bell and the Glass Bell. So I play Arisen. As long as you have a wind monster, you basically have in the graveyard. You basically have a DD Crow, Genie, and all the Wind Witch monsters are wind monsters. So while this card's on the field, you have a quick effect DD Crow on field with a big giant behind butt. But so it's like it's hard to get past the butt, and then on top of that, I can DD Crow at any point in time once per turn, so I don't have to play the DD Crow. I'm playing 2 copies of the Winter Bell because Winter Bell has the effect to burn as well. It's also a level 7 synchro. You also need the Winter Bell in order to get into your Crystal Bell. I'm playing the Adagnister because it's a negate of or it's a destruction for spell cards and trap cards. So it's helping me also get rid of problematic field spells and stuff like that, and problematic floodgates. But also, when a card on your side of the field is destroyed, you can banish this card and automatically spin a monster or a card on your opponent's side of the field right back to their deck. It's really good because of that. Then of course we're playing the Clear Wing, and of course we're playing the Crystal Wing. You guys should know what those do. I'm even playing the number 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon because we play enough level 8s to create a Hope Harbinger Dragon, which is another spell negate. Next, I'm playing for the Link monsters. I'm playing 1 copy of Link Karibo. Slink Karibo. I'm playing 1 copy of Verre Anaconda in here to get to that Magicalized Fusion faster. If I don't see it in my hand, I'll see it one way or another because Verre Anaconda will get me there. I'm playing 1 copy of Daybreaker because Daybreaker says I pop a card for every time. Once per turn, every time that there's a special summon to an arrow it points to, it gains a magic counter. For every spell counter that's on it, it basically has the ability to pop a card by removing 2 spell counters from it. Then you have 1 Selene, Queen of the Master Magicians, because of the fact that when you create this card, it has the ability to special summon spellcasters directly from your graveyard by removing 2 spell counters from it. It automatically gains spell counters equal to the amount of spell cards in each graveyard. So that means it can have an innumerable amount of spell cards and then or spell counters, and then you can use 2 spell counters each turn to special summon a monster to a zone that this card points to. Which means you can basically get your Crystal Bell back if you special summoned it the proper way off of Verre Anaconda or off of the Magicalized Fusion in general. And then of course I'm playing the Bull Sword because I need to win the game. So that's my other OTK option. That's the finish this now option while you can. So yeah, Bull Sword Dragon. That's the end of your extra deck. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's the entirety of the deck. The deck's actually pretty awesome. This card's even more awesome. This play pops off a good bit. So when you get this play, go ahead and give it a try, guys. Like when Instant Fusion was out at 3, this play was very consistent, and nobody actually thought about it because nobody ever played Wind Witch Crystal Bell, so nobody ever looked at the card. But it's actually a very powerful card. So give it a look, give it a try. It's just a suggestion. It goes really well with anything that's playing the Wind Witch engine already anyway, and then you can throw in the Magicalized Fusion to sneak the Wind Witch Crystal Bell in there. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe. If you want to see like sequencing for the videos that I do, as with any video, all you have to do is get this video to 100 likes and I can put up a 2 to 5 minute sequencing video about how the sequence plays, so you can see how things are done with the deck. That's it. 2 to 5 minutes, no more, no less. So hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. It's Niv, and I'm out.